What is up, everybody? It is Archimedes Aizen here, back at it again with another video. Now, this video would pretty much be what if Naruto had Revenant's powers. Now, if you guys don't know Revenant or his powers, I will be linking a lower video, like his lore and stuff like that, in the description below. Then I will be telling you his powers right now. His passive ability makes it so you can climb, higher, and you run faster. I think that's how it works. Then his tactical is he basically throws like an orange red ball of substance at you, and it cancels your abilities and it takes some damage. So what Naruto is going to be doing is he's literally going to cancel chakra, and yeah, that's kind of OP, no cap. So pretty much without further ado, guys, let's get straight into this what if. Now, pretty much Naruto would be born similar to canon, but his parents will be the same. And when Naruto's born, is the same stuff would go to canon. Obito would try to make Minato kind of disappear, by putting a explosive tag on Naruto's baby sheets, which caused Minato to, choose Naruto to save him pretty much. And then he would take Kushina to his Sailing Shrine for ripping out the Nine Tails and pretty much forcing it into a summoning pact. Now, after he would do that, he would put, basically summon the Nine Tails and then put it under Genjutsu. After that, the Nine Tails pretty much go on a rampage. Minato would put Naruto in this baby cradle, I guess you can say, before he would pretty much put on his Hokage's cloak and head out. So pretty much the Nine Tails attack would go exactly the same. But in this timeline, Naruto will actually not be getting the Nine Tails. Just in some way, shape, or form, he just won't be getting the Nine Tails. Like when Minato would be sealing it, he would actually seal all of it inside himself, and that kind of sounds stupid. Like he would know what to seal. He is doing the Reaper Death seal and all, but the Reaper would be thinking that it would be a waste of time, and he thinks like over all these years people have been just using the Nine Tails, and he just didn't like it. So he thought, as a favor to the world itself, he would pretty much give all the Nine Tails to Minato, which would be breaking the contract that he made, like Minato made with the Reaper, but he, who cares? Then he'd pretty much give Naruto these special powers. I know I never done this style, but I don't want to do the same thing over and over. I want to try something different. So he would give Naruto these Revenant powers pretty much, just thinking, out of excitement, what will Naruto do? Now pretty much Naruto will receive these powers, but it'll almost be like it was born with them, since he literally is a baby, so he's pretty much born with it. So after the Nine Tails attack is over, Naruto would be taken care of. He was in for the next 4 years, when Naruto is pretty much put into an apartment and is given a 2-week allowance. So pretty much Naruto would kind of live on his own for the next maybe 3 years, before one day he would have been causing too much trouble in the village. Like anytime somebody pretty much came to start shit with him, he would pretty much fuck their shit up, no cap. And in every incident, the civilians or the lower ninja would say that they felt like their chakras were almost being chained down. Now, here's the thought: this is probably just like an Uzumaki thing, since his mom did have the Uzumaki chain. But in Apex, when you get the basically get hit by the tactical, there's like a chain symbol over your ability, something like that. That's kind of what happened to their chakra network. So they would have almost died, since chakra is life force. With no life force, you'll die. So Danzo proposed a plan for Naruto to basically be in the Yanbu. Now, after all these years, Hiruzen would have conceded. Naruto would have been causing too much trouble, and it probably would have been for the best. So Naruto, from the age of 7 all the way to the age of 16, which would be 9 years, he would spend training and assassinating, doing assassination missions, doing espionage missions, anything an Anbu would do. So in these years, he would train and utilize more of his abilities, be trained by Danzo so he can master these abilities. And Danzo was very interested in these abilities, pretty much like Izanagi. His main ability is like Izanagi, but he wasn't really interested because there was like a like a cooldown. So, and he already has a bunch of Sharingan with the Izanagi, so he wasn't interested on taking Naruto's power. So Naruto would kind of get into the, rising the ranks of the Anbu, and he would quickly become, captain, of a squad. There's multiple squads, like, in the regular Anbu, Kakashi was squad of, like, captain of one squad, and so was Itachi, stuff like that. So Naruto would spend the next few years doing these missions, and right around until he was 16, he would be informed by Hiruzen himself that he will actually be going in the academy to basically become an actual ninja. He's already kind of learned his lesson and became a proper person in the society of the Hidden Leaf Village. So Naruto would really not have any reason to disagree, and he would pretty much head over to, like, his house before sleeping for the night. Next day, he would head over to the academy, and the graduation exams would have already, like, ended. Mizuki, whatever, I don't know what he did. He probably got arrested because he tried to, persuade another kid to basically steal the scroll ceiling. I'm like, I'm butchering this, but basically, Mizuki incident would not really occur in this what if when it comes to Naruto's perspective. So Naruto would head towards the academy, and you'd walk in, and Iruka would immediately recognize him due to the letter that the Hokage sent him, basically telling him that Naruto would actually be there. But everyone else did not know who this Naruto individual was. So basically no one would know who he was. So there wouldn't be no, like, people who, like, no past friendship with Shikamaru, Choji, or Shino, or anything like that. So Naruto would walk in and basically sit next to Sasuke, just like in canon. Now, pretty much when Sakura and Ino walked in, they were gonna sit next to their Sasuke. I don't know where they picked up this attraction for him, but they still kind of, want to go sit next to him. So they were basically racing over there, just like usual, and pretty much they would see Naruto. Now, at first instinct, Sakura would go to basically tell Naruto to get out the seat, but then, like she would, Naruto would kind of just look her way before kind of raising his chakra pillar intent, I guess you can say, and pretty much everyone would start to feel a cold sweat go down their neck, and their, like, the spinal cord would just get it would feel like an iceberg just went over the spinal cord. So Sakura would kind of just be like scared, frozen pretty much, and then she would slowly back up, and then she would pretty much just go to a random seat. She wouldn't even look, she would just keep backing up, like she kind of lost focus. She doesn't really have much killer intent defense, I guess you can say. So Iruka would walk in a few minutes later, and pretty much he would start to go over the teams, saying that Team 7 is actually Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Shikamaru. Oh my god, what am I saying? Oh, sorry. And Sakura Haruno. I don't know why I said Shikamaru. I was fantasizing, should I put Shikamaru in the team? But then I actually said Shikamaru when I meant to say Sakura. But, bro, I'm tripping. So pretty much that team would just say all the teams are canon. So the other two senseis for Team 8 and Team 10 would come along and pretty much pick up their teams. Now, they would head towards their own, it's just their business. Whatever they did in canon, they did in canon. So pretty much Kakashi would still be late in canon, but he would be a little less late because he knows Naruto's tendencies. So he would have been maybe, instead of 3 hours late, he would have only been 2 hours late. Round of applause for Kakashi. That book is very important. It's definitely S-rank mission to keep on to that book. So pretty much after that would occur, Naruto would pretty much see Kakashi walk in. Now he would get kind of bored, and he would say hurry up, skin suit. Now if you guys are wondering, why would he just say skin suit? He's not a robot. Well, he kind of picked up on Revenant's personality, not too much. He's not gonna become a rogue ninja now, or maybe he will, who knows. We didn't reach that far yet. So basically Kakashi would just kind of wave this off and tell everyone to meet him on the roof. Now once pretty much Kakashi and the rest of the Team 7 would kind of be on the roof, he would start to go over explaining to them what they'll actually be doing and what they're doing. So he would start the introduction saying your names, your likes, your dislikes, and your goals. So everyone would start to say their likes, their dislikes, and stuff like that. And pretty much it would go to Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura would say what they usually say, but Naruto would pretty much say that his name is Naruto Uzumaki. His likes, killing people. His dislikes, not killing people. Like basically he's saying that he dislikes not being able to kill people when he can. And his goal is to kill more people and have fun. Now, if you guys are wondering, the fuck, Naruto, you good, bro? You need to pop a pill or two? Naruto is completely fine. I mean, he's not, he might have some sociopathic tendencies, but he's not too crazy. He's just a perfect kind of crazy. So pretty much, everyone would kind of shiver, but Kakashi was in the Anbu. He knew the stage, and he knew Naruto would kind of lighten up sooner or later. Or at least that's what he hoped. So, basically Kakashi would laugh this off, and he would then tell everyone what they'll be doing tomorrow. So he would kind of get increase his killer intent, kind of look more intimidating before he tell them to meet him tomorrow at 6 a.m. And if they eat, he will literally make them puke. Like, he will puke. And after this, he would disappear in a pile of leaves. So pretty much after that would happen, Team 7 would go to their respected homes, and Naruto would just spend the rest of the night just killing people. Randomly just finding any reason to kill someone. He just loves killing people for some reason. Seeing their blood all sprayed out and stuff like that. It is what it is. So Naruto would sleep for the night, and he would wake up and he'd be like, I wonder why skin suits like sleeping. He is a skin suit, but we're gonna talk about that. So Naruto would get up and pretty much put on his clothes, kind of like Revenant's outfit, even though most of his outfit is kind of robot parts. Just try to imagine Revenant's outfit on Naruto and you'll be fine. So pretty much Naruto would head out to, towards the training ground. It's been 6 a.m. and he doesn't feel hungry. Even if he felt hungry, he doesn't really feel like eating. Killing is only really thing he does. So pretty much once he would get to the training ground, he would see Sakura and Sasuke. He would just pretty much sit there, and what would happen is Kakashi would come in a few seconds later. I'm sorry, psych, not a few seconds later. You actually think he's gonna come on time? No, of course not. He's gonna take around 3 hours. Just around 11 to noon. And once he would get there, Sakura would still yell at him like in canon, basically saying, you're late and stuff like that. Now Kakashi just wouldn't care. It's Sakura. She's not adult Sakura, because adult Sakura would wipe the floor with that form of Kakashi. So pretty much, Kakashi would start to explain to him about the bell test. He would explain that he would, bring out 2 bells and say that, you guys have to get this from me before the end of the day, or, all of you will be going back to the academy. But there's a catch. Only 2 of you will be passing and becoming part of Team 7, while 1 of you will be going back to the academy. Now, the only person who would be really complaining here is Sakura, since she hasn't received her character development yet. Sasuke and Naruto would kind of just be silent, doing their own thing, and then Kakashi would probably just say start a few minutes later after explaining something more. So once he would say start, Naruto would basically just stand there, and Kakashi would pretty much kind of feel intimidated, not too much, but he's like, this guy's like a former head captain Anbu. He's wondering what Naruto would be thinking right now. He knows maybe 1,000 ways to kill him, and he only knows about 100 ways to kill Naruto. So pretty much Kakashi would, feeling threatened, would lift up his headband, and Naruto would kind of just back up jokingly and start shivering, pretending to. And he would say, oh, what am I gonna do about that Sharingan? I'm not really scared though. He would then pretty much appear behind Kakashi, get the tactical ability, infuse it with his hand. I know, you never thought of that before. And he would pretty much just punch Kakashi. Now Kakashi, once he would get hit in the face, his dojutsu, his Sharingan would actually turn off for maybe 10 seconds. Now after this, Naruto would kind of back up and do a few backflips for Kakashi would kind of just be seen with orange and black lightning coursing through his body, and his eyes would turn back to normal. Even his scar kind of turned like a little bit of orange there. Now Kakashi would be confused, and he'd remember that from all the mission reports of when he was a kid, everyone was feeling as if they were chained, and most of their jutsu didn't work, and Kakashi had to see this. So he would try to flex his chakra, but it wouldn't even work. So pretty much after this, Naruto would say that this ability of his cancels all chakra. Nothing courses through your body. So in about 60 seconds, you will start to feel the side effects of not having a life force anymore. It's like losing a kidney or a lung. Your body just doesn't keep up with that. So, and a few seconds later, Kakashi would start to like get on his knees and start coughing up blood, and pretty much Naruto would tell him to give up, and Kakashi would just kind of like pass out. Now, if you guys are wondering, how does Kakashi lose to a tactical ability like that? That's pretty pathetic. But this is quite enhanced. He's been training this for 9 years. It's gonna be quite strong. So Naruto would reach down and grab the bells before throwing them just randomly to Sasuke and Sakura. Now they'd be in the bushes, but they would see this bell just like coming out their way like at top speeds, and they're wondering how did Naruto even see them. But they would still nonetheless pick the bells up, and they would tie Kakashi to the tree. Now Kakashi would explain to them once he would wake up that they passed, but they didn't really go over the teamwork, exercise that he wanted them to. But he knew since he pretty much get gutter stomped, he ain't gonna say anything. So he would pass them, and they would start the 1 month of D-ranked missions. Now this would pretty much be like suicide for Naruto. There's only one way to kill Revenant, and that's basically shooting his core data memory, I guess you could say. Just like not on his physical body, but somewhere else where all of his memory and data's where it is. I don't know what I'm saying, but I know what I'm saying. I read the lore, but basically another way is doing D-rank missions. That's what I'm trying to imply here. So Naruto would have been sick of these D-rank missions, and he would have pretty much went to Hiruzen and basically appealed to him, saying that, hey, can we at least do a D-rank mission? I'm a former head captain of the Anbu. I should be able to at least do this. Now Hiruzen would pretty much agree, and they would be given that C-rank mission. So Tazuna would come in, start looking at everyone, and he would stop at Naruto. He looked at Naruto, and this guy just looks, scary. So Naruto would kind of just walk up to him, kind of get a little bit close, and then he would kind of just like do like a fake out. Like he would get into his face, kind of act like scare Tazuna. Now Tazuna would get scared. He's a whole drunk man. So he would finally acknowledge his team and say that they're quite strong. And he says that he wants to leave as soon as possible to the land of the waves so he can get started on building the bridge. So pretty much once everyone else was packed up, after about an hour, they would be at the gates and they would be ready to go. So once they would pretty much leave the village gates, they would head towards the land of the waves. So about 3 hours later, they would be nearing the land of the waves when they would pretty much feel like Naruto would feel a chakra presence. Now he would turn around and he pinpointed down to a puddle. Now it was a scorching hot day, and he was wondering, how did this puddle become to form? It's impossible unless somebody did a transformation jutsu. So he would then raise his hand and pretend to stretch before he would just extend his hand and do his tactical, and the water would disappear into thin air, and there'd be the two brothers all electrocuted by his tactical ability. Now Naruto would kind of just do a finisher. Now if you guys don't know what a finisher is basically when you down somebody in Apex Legends, you can do a finisher. So he'd do like the default finisher. It's kind of hard to explain this, but he pretty much start punching the guy before getting behind him, headlocking him, and twisting his head off. Now after this, he would get a knife out, a little small like purple and black lightning based knife, and he would stab it through the other ninja. Basically it would come out the other side, and the other brother would start to gurgle, like the blood would start to drown him basically, and he would die from losing too much blood and basically getting stabbed through the heart. So after this would happen, Sakura would kind of like bend over and start to basically throw up. She literally just saw somebody get brutally decapitated, and then somebody else get completely like killed. That's good, like overkilled pretty much. So after this would happen, Sasuke would kind of be a little weirded out, but he's seen his own clan die, so he's a little bit used to it. So Kakashi would use a Anbu type jutsu to get information out of them, and pretty much after that, they would head towards, you know, the land of the waves. They would take a short boat ride, and once they would get to, I'm stupid, sorry. And once they would get to the mainland, they would pretty much dock their ship, and they would be walking through a forest. Now, once they'd be walking through the forest, they would feel a thick mist forming. Now, once this thick mist would form, they would pretty much, you'd be a little bit blinded by this. But Naruto would know who caused this, and Kakashi would know. So pretty much he would raise his hand towards the sky and release his tactical. Now this would cause like a huge explosion, which would create a radius that would completely envelop the mist, and it would completely cancel the mist jutsu, and it would completely like locate where Zabuza Momochi is, or this masked man is. So Naruto would pretty much appear behind him and throw a punch at him, but Zabuza with his quick reflexes would unsheath his blade and block it, but when he did it, the blade would shatter in half. His hand would still be going for Zabuza, and he would punch Zabuza in the face, and Zabuza would be sent flying into like one of the a tree pretty much, and he would get pretty severely injured. He would be sent like through a few trees. So once he would get up, he would go through about 200 hand signs before doing a water dragon jutsu. Now once he would do this, a dragon would form out of the moisture in the air, and he would be sent towards Naruto, but Naruto would kind of just get the tactical and fuse it with his hand before slapping the dragon away. Now after this, Kakashi would then appear in front of Zabuza before getting a kunai and enveloping it in Raikiri before going to stab him. But Zabuza would basically barely dodge it, and pretty much Haku would come in, realizing that there's no point in trying to fake his death anymore. So he would go in and pretty much throw 3 senpons at Kakashi's face. Now Kakashi's gonna be a little surprised by this. So with his Sharingan's reactions, he would kind of just bend backwards, and the senbon would kind of barely nick his like nose, and he would get like a scratch on the mask. So Naruto would get a little bit annoyed. He would throw down his totem and activate Death's Dealing, or I think that's what it's called. And most of his health would be depleted, but if he does take any damage, he will pretty much be sent back to the totem. Now, he would rush towards Haku before getting that same knife he killed with the demon brother before, and basically stabbing it through her heart. Like his whole hand would go through his heart. I said her. Like I really got really played by the trap. I'm just kidding. But basically he would kill Haku, and pretty much Zabuza would get some emotional empowerment and go to basically slice Revenant or Naruto in half, and when she would do. But Naruto, it would look like he's dead. His body would be there and all, but Naruto would, basically be behind him. He would tap him on the shoulder, and Zabuza would wonder, who's tapping him on the shoulder. He killed Naruto, but when he would basically turn around, like a fist would be going through his chest. Now, basically what would happen is Naruto would turn his hand into like a little bit of a sharp blade before stabbing him through the chest, and he would pretty much kill Zabuza. Now, what would happen is they would pretty much finish building the bridge for that day, and they would go to sleep. Then the next day, Naruto would be going through the city, and he would pretty much see the state of the village, or the land. This was the quote-unquote land of the waves. It was quite a poor country, just like it said in the report. So Naruto, feeling, a little bit generous. He's not a skin suit. I'm just kidding. But basically, he would go into the forest and start hunting down animals. And he likes killing, so this could be considered killing. So he'd go in the forest and start killing animals, and bringing like a few hundred boars and bears and pigs and anything there was. So he would basically start cooking them in the middle of the village, and there would be gathering people. They would kind of form a line, and Naruto would kind of, with a few shadow clones, would, serve them a meal or two. So Naruto would pretty much feed the village that day, and pretty much later on that evening, a few of Gato's men would start walking through the village. Now, everyone, the civilians and kids, would kind of get scared, and Naruto would kind of just look at them, and they would be pretty weak. So he would whisper in the kids' ears, asking why everyone's so scared of it, since, in his head, this guy, these two guys weren't even scary at all. This is probably like not even a snack for him. So the kid would whisper back, saying that this is one of their colonizers' men, Gato Industries, and they basically colonized their land, and they're oppressing them. So Naruto would say he would basically reach out his pocket, and he would give the kid 1,000 ryu, and he would basically tell the kid, if I take this whole Gato guy, you promise to keep my food warm, right? So the kid would probably, say yes, and Naruto would get up and completely appear behind the two guys, just make their whole, like, he would get the tactical and he would erase their body from existence. He would just swipe and then their body's gone. He could have done a little more brutally, but there's kids and people there. He didn't want them to see the dead body and the killing he was about to do. So pretty much after this would happen, he would then head towards, like, he would search through their pockets and see a map. So this map would take him down to the main base. So once he would get there, after slaughtering a few people on his way, he would get there to the main gate, where he'd see two towers where the guards are looking across from each other. They're looking in the same directions downwards. So Naruto would pretty much make a kunai, throw the kunai. It would go through the left guy's neck, the left tower guard's neck, and it would come out the other side and it would kill him. Now the guard would start to notice, and Naruto would appear behind him and snap his neck before destroying of the body. Now, he would then head inside before basically making himself noticed. So about 200 mobs would start coming down, and they would pretty much get into a fighting position before Naruto would raise his hand and pretty much do the symbol to say, come at me. So everyone, like the guards, would start to yell, kind of do like a battle cry before they would rush towards Naruto and pretty much go to, swing their sword at them. So Naruto would casually dodge, and he would use his tactical, and he would cancel all their chakra and all of their strength. So they'd be sitting there like paralyzed pretty much, and they couldn't really do anything. So Naruto would just casually walk, and he would basically appear all like in behind them, like very far behind them, and all of their heads would just simultaneously fall off, and their body will all limply fall down to the floor, making a huge crash as blood would start to splatter everywhere. Now this is quite actually gruesome. Hopefully I don't get age restricted. But basically after this would happen, Naruto would walk in, and he would walk into this office where Gato would be sitting there on his throne with all the gold he has. So Naruto would kind of drool at the end of his mouth. He is seeing so much money that he wants. He loves money. He kills for money. He just likes it. So pretty much Naruto would see this, and he would ask Gato a few questions, how did you become this emperor, something like that, simple question, before we go to the hard questions like, why are you colonizing this land and stuff. And Gato would answer, cockily, or very egotistically, and Naruto didn't like this answer. This guy, he looked senses chakra. This guy doesn't even have a decimal of chakra he can use, and yet he has the audacity to talk to him like he is stronger. So Naruto would appear behind him and snap his neck before pretty much throwing him into the pile of bodies downstairs. He would then pretty much go into the vaults, kick the door open before pretty much grabbing a bag and filling all of the gold and money filled. Now he would go back to the village, and he would tell the kids to keep the money, and he would eat his food before he would basically make himself known and by the bridge, in the middle of the newly built bridge. He would tell everyone to make a line, and each time he would hand them about $15,000 to $20,000, just making a random number, and each person he would hand them, and pretty much after he would hand everyone money, there was still maybe a lot of money. So he would walk up to Tazuna, and he would tell Tazuna that he would hand them the money, and he would tell them to give about $10,000 to $15,000 to everyone each week, since there was maybe billions of dollars there. They could have easily survived. So Tazuna would kind of take the leadership, the role of leadership, and he would give everyone their money fairly. So there would be a new construction. More people who are poor will actually start learning how to construct, and they would start building new houses and new government buildings and stuff like that. They would make their own law, and they would separate from the Mist Village. Since they're not receiving supplies from the Mist Village, so what's the point? So pretty much the Mist Village won't do anything. They're pretty small land. They're not really like needed. So they would become separate. So they would pretty much kind of just build their own thing, and Team 7 would kind of be praised as heroes, and they're welcome there anytime. So pretty much Naruto, before he left, he would tell Tazuna to make like a bounty list. So whenever he comes, he can go get some bounties and kill people for money and fun. So pretty much Naruto would head over to the bounty area a little bit outside the village, and he would cash in the demon brothers Zabuza and Haku, and he'd get around 250 million Ryu. Rio, I think I said that right, but I'm gonna say $250 million. That's better. So he would go back to the village, get his mission money for the A rank mission, since it was now classified as an A rank mission. But once he would get back to the village, he'd be congratulated by everyone in the village for pretty much gaining a possible land for the leaf. But Naruto wasn't really interested in that type of politics, so he'd go and pretty much he'd be called in by Hiruzen. Hiruzen would want him to actually go back to the Anbu. Now, not to root Anbu, but the actual Anbu. You know, there's been a short members of Anbu, and they need Naruto back. So Naruto will be replacing Sai, and Sai would kind of be going to the Team 7. Like, Naruto wouldn't be going to root like Sai is, but Sai will be taking Naruto's place. So Team 7 will go through the Chunin exams, and pretty much Naruto would kind of be doing his own thing, doing missions and stuff like that. And we're going to time skip to the finale of the Chunin exams. Now, if you guys are wondering, the whole Force of Death thing would happen, but Naruto, instead of being there, Sai would kind of be their support. So Sasuke will not be getting the curse mark, since Danzo made a deal with Orochimaru not to attack, since if he were to remove one of his most loyal members of the root, it would kind of be disappointing. So Orochimaru didn't attack there, but he's gonna attack at the finale. So Naruto will be sitting next to the Hokage. He is the Hokage's personal Anbu, and he'd pretty much be sitting there, and he would see the Sasuke versus Gaara fight. Now he would see that Gaara is going a little bit out of control, and he would want Gaara to go out of control. He wants a good fight. He wants Sasuke to beat, Gaara. So I'm gonna say this: Sasuke would get a little more power than Kennen. He would have gotten his 3 Tomoe Sharingan instead of the usual 2 Tomoe. So he would have been a little bit stronger, maybe 5 to 10 times stronger. Due to him not having the curse mark, so we're gonna have to limit himself back at the second portion of the Chunin exams, which would have given more time for him to train instead of recovering. So yeah, sorry about that tangent I went on. But basically, the Gaara would go on a rampage and the barrier would be formed. Naruto would kind of be outside. So pretty much he would see the attack happening, and he had to pick to go after the one-tailed Jinchuriki or protect Hiruzen. So basically, he would pick to protect Hiruzen. Now he would infuse his hand with his tactical, and the barrier would just be inferior to him. He would grab the barrier and rip it open, and he would give them enough time for all the Anbu to run in, and pretty much, the Sound 4 would get easily dealt with. All the Jonin would come in, like not all of them, but like Kakashi and Guy. All the other Anbu would deal with escorting the citizens to the academy and stuff like that. So pretty much Naruto would be inside next to Hiruzen. Hiruzen would have his staff, and Naruto would get his kunai, I guess you can say, but it's like infused with his tactical, is like the one that Revenant uses to finish people. So pretty much Naruto would unsheath this, and Orochimaru, seeing that Naruto is now in play, would pretty much start to summon all the Hokage. Now he would pretty much, like in canon, summon the first and second Hokage. So Naruto would be fighting the first and second, while Hiruzen is fighting Orochimaru. Now, pretty much they'd be looking at him, and they would say, who are you, boy? Since Naruto would just say Naruto Uzumaki, and pretty much Hashirama would say pretty much like Mito, and Naruto would just scratch his neck and say that he really doesn't care about the whole clan thing, and he just likes to kill people. Now, pretty much Tobirama would go, kind of do the same thing he did to Sasuke in the work. He would kind of, release his killer intent and stuff like that. And Hashirama would join with. and they would have a fight. Since now the fight would pretty much go the same, not really the same, but Naruto would just dog water them. Since number one, Naruto would basically, like, once they would run towards him, Hashirama would try to put him in a wood style trap. So Naruto would just get his hand out and start to infuse his tactical into his blade. He would just slice all of it and quickly putting down a totem before doing a few hand signs and putting a earth style mud wall. So he'd do 4 walls around this totem to protect it, and then he would pretty much start fighting. So he would start to get into a taijutsu battle with Hashirama. Hashirama would pretty much throw a punch towards Naruto's face. Naruto would kind of like dodge. He would then pretty much uppercut Hashirama before being set in in the air, flying in the air pretty much. And Naruto would appear above him and pretty much send him, kick him, sending him like flying back to the ground. Then he would pretty much grab Hashirama's head and rip it off before throwing his head into Tobirama with a little bit of chakra. Now this head would pretty much hit Tobirama and set him into the wall. And pretty much Hashirama will kind of reanimate from his head, just regurgitate his body. I think that's the word. I think I said that, yeah. So pretty much Tobirama would kind of go a little bit try hard mode, and he would try to use the flying Raijin in coincision with Hashirama. So they'd be trying to do team tag abilities, but Naruto just won't be having any of it. He's having a little bit trouble, but one time they would try to attack him, like Hashirama would get in the way of the attack, and basically Tobirama would kind of throw a punch, chakra infused punch, and basically they would do the flying Raijin, kind of the double flying Raijin, I guess you can say, like Minato and Tobirama did. So, but Hashirama won't use the flying Raijin. He would kind of use his own version of teleportation. So Naruto would appear behind the punch and pretty much get his whole head taken off. But remember, he has the totem, so he would appear by the totem and pretty much start clapping his hands, saying that this was the first time anyone actually done that much damage to him, and he realized he needs to go like full try hard. So he would appear behind them and slap their heads off before using his tactical to basically seal them away. After he would seal them away, he would turn around to see Hiruzen going to do the Reaper Death Seal. So in a favor to him, as his last words, I guess you can say, he would pretty much trap Orochimaru in with his tactical, and he would pretty much put Orochimaru in headlock with his tactical, and Orochimaru would kind of start having screaming out, knowing that he was going to get sealed away. No Kusanagi blade is going to save him. He has no chakra to call the Kusanagi out. So the Reaper would come out and he would recognize Naruto, and he would kind of get a smile on his face before he'd basically rip out Orochimaru's soul, and he would pretty much put the soul in his stomach. The Reaper would disappear and Hiruzen would die. So after this, Naruto would be looking into the distance where he would pretty much see Sasuke carrying Gaara on his back. Let's say Sasuke managed a way to beat Gaara using a summoning jutsu he learned from Kakashi. Yeah, let's say he learned the snake summoning and he used the snake to beat Gaara. I see this this is a huge possibility, so definitely can happen. So after this, the whole Konoha Crush attack would be finished, and pretty much the Tsunade retrieval arc would go differently. Naruto would not be on this mission. Naruto has no interest in Jiraiya, and he was kind of busy with the own S-rank mission he was doing. He needed to train. So basically, Jiraiya would go on his own and he would get Tsunade. There's no Orochimaru to basically convince her not to. So Tsunade would come back, become the 5th Hokage. Sasuke would not leave the village. Sasuke would actually train with Kakashi, and he would get a few years into Anbu, where basically Naruto and Sasuke would kind of be on the same mission, and Sasuke would start to respect Naruto. Well, Naruto would also do the same. So pretty much, if you guys are wondering, what about that Itachi and Kisame attack? Itachi and Kisame, they were kind of too scared of Naruto. They know that Naruto and Sasuke are now on the same Anbu team, so if they rattled Sasuke's cage or Naruto's cage, either one of them are going to come after him, and they didn't want to risk that type of exposure. So basically, this would actually lead to the time skip, and if you guys are wondering, this will actually be the end of this video. Next part, we'll be going over Shippuden. I usually would end it here, but I decided to do part finally. So without further ado, guys, I'll be heading out. Thank you, DankGod, for making this thumbnail. And yeah, without further ado, guys, have a good day.